Welcome to the Jumpy Monkey game. So this is a finished version of the game. I've got my gravity working, so I'll give you a quick sample of what you do. When you hit start, you can, with the arrow keys, adjust the angle of the arrow. And then when you click the space bar, it will launch with gravity, so it goes up and down. It gets it. You see, it'll fall faster the more it falls. You can also adjust the speed with the up and down arrows to get different speeds. You see that for this angle, I'll have to get over the obstacle, but not so fast I hit the top of the screen. So got it. So that's the basics of the game. This is just the basics. Now I'll show you the objectives for this game. So that's a new thing I'll do. You're going to learn how to apply gravity in a game. You're going to learn how to use camel case, which is the way of writing names for variables. And we'll learn a little bit more about using operators. I know you've started to do this, but we're going to learn more about this. I'll come back to the requirements in a minute. First, let me show you the code, because you'll be able to copy a lot of the things from me. And you could probably copy some of this stuff as we go as I'm talking about it. You will notice I've set the size using code this time. I didn't use the shrink button. I set the size to 35%, because if I don't, the monkey is a lot bigger than that, and I wanted him to be kind of the size of the launcher. Don't rotate style, go to the launcher, that's the arrow. And here's the difference. I set a gravity to negative 0.2. It's 2/10 for you 5th graders. But negative 0.2, that's the starting gravity. Now you'll see later on, I changed the falling speed by gravity, but the gravity will increase. It gets faster and faster. The falling speed, rather. Not the gravity won't change. So, not too much else here. One thing I did want to stress is in camel case, which is the way we write variables. I know even college students get confused by this sometimes. But when we write more than one word in a variable, like fall speed here, the beginning starts with every new word in it starts with a capital letter. You can't put spaces in variables, so you can't separate the words by spaces. So instead, we just start every new word with a capital letter so you understand where the new word is. We call it camel case because then it has weird little humps in the middle of it, right? Like fall speed as capital F-A-L-L, but then when speed starts, it's a new word, so I capitalize S to make speed. That's camel case, and we'll come back to that many times. Let's see, touching edge or touching palm tree. So this is just another way you can use variables. See, I put this block in, and all these are operators that are under the green blocks. You can use ands, or ors, or nots, or equals. You've used some of these: equals, greater than, less than. There's all different kinds of functions and operators and ways you can compare and combine things. So this one I said repeat until this or this, until it's touching the edge of the screen or until it's touching the palm tree. So I put a barrier in here. And I don't know if this tree's too big, might make it too hard, but it seemed to do okay so far. Everything else here I think is self-explanatory. There's a lot of different variables in this. Fall speed, so how fast it falls. Gravity, which is a set number, which you can play with, actually. I'll show you later on to see what different kinds of gravity do. The launch speed, which is how fast the monkey takes off. So the faster he goes, the farther he'll go, obviously, if you've ever played some of those other games on your phone. And the number of bananas. So it starts off, I put that it starts off with 3 bananas. You might want to make some more. See, when I hit start, every time I hit start, it's 3 bananas. And they appear in random places because I did random numbers. And there's slightly different color variations too, because I played with the color effect. But you could try more bananas. You could try different kinds of fruits. You could try bananas and cherries, or bananas and watermelons. You could try different kinds of combinations. There's a lot of things you can do with this. I use clones like I did with the circle game to make the bananas, though. You'll see. Here's the banana variable. You can copy this. Set the numbers of bananas to 3. But I hid it because I didn't want the first one showing up, and then I just created 3 clones. So you repeat number of bananas, which is 3. So repeat this 3 times, create a clone of myself. And when it starts as a clone, it picks a random place on the screen, only on the right part of the screen though, because I don't want it appearing right above the monkey or behind the tree. I did a random size, so sometimes they're half as big or sometimes they're full size bananas. It's totally random. The color effect is also random, so they're lighter or darker. And it waits until it's touching the monkey, which is flying through the air. It changes the number of bananas by -1, so it changes how many bananas are on the screen. It keeps track of how many bananas there are on the screen. And then it says if numbers of bananas equals 0, then broadcast game over. I didn't say what happens for the game over. You're going to have to add that yourself. And then it delete this clone. So you hit the banana, it vanishes, and it subtracts it by 1. Alright, let's look at the launcher. You can copy down this code as well. Basically, you can control the arrow by hitting the up key or the down key. It just adjusts the angle of the launcher. If you want to get it higher, you press up. If you want it lower, press down. Every time you do it, it changes it by 1 degree. So it's like those circles we made in code.org where you have to change it 1 degree every step. It changes it 1 degree, but you can hold down the arrow key and it would just move automatically. You don't have to keep pressing the key. Besides that, it's always going to be in a set spot. It's always going to start off pointing in a 45-degree direction. And although, you know, these things are there's only 4 choices here you can drop down to, you can always just click on this and write whatever angle in that you want it to point, which is what I did here. I had to type in 45. And then this go to front means that the launcher will always be in front. You'll always see it. The monkey will never block the launcher. So even though I say in this, the monkey goes to the launcher here, the monkey, when he goes to the launcher, he appears behind the launcher because I want you to see the launcher so you can adjust it. So it always should be in front. It shouldn't be blocked by the monkey. There's no code for the palm tree, obviously, since all that is in the monkey. And that's the basics of the code. So if any of you need any of this code, you could just pause the video and copy it. Now I'll show you what you have to add and what you can change and add. Alright, the requirements, besides using the provided code, you need to add a game over screen, and you should be well familiar with this. We've done it a few times now. You got to keep track of the launches and the display. So keeping track of how many launches it takes to, for example, to knock down all 3 bananas. And then you'll say it took you 2 tries, or 2 launches, or 5 launches, or 6 launches, or whatever you want, however you want to decide to design the game. But at the end, it shouldn't just say game over. It should tell you how many launches it took to get it. Unless they failed in some way, you design a fail, and then it'll be a different game over screen. You need to add sound effects. This does not mean music. We're not going to add music in this game. I want you to add sound effects to every different event. So when it launches, maybe it's a boing sound or something else, or a shot out of a cannon. When it hits a tree, it should be like a smack, right, or something. When it gets a banana, maybe it's a pop sound. When it hits the edge of a screen, maybe there should be another sound. So there can be. You just need to have different sounds for different events. Also, I would like you to try drawing your own background. I'd like you to, even though I picked a preset background, I'd like you, especially those people who haven't tried drawing it yet, I would like you guys to try to draw your own background. Alright, some optional things you might want to try, which I think would make the game even more fun. Try doing a time limit. So don't let them set up their shots forever. Maybe you only have 20 seconds or 30 seconds to take your shots, and then the game ends if you haven't gotten all the bananas anyway. That would be a fail event, right? You could probably think of some other things you could do to quicken up the game. You could try to use more than one kind of fruit, like I mentioned. You could try playing with the gravity. So you can always click on this, and if you right-click the variable, I'll have it show gravity to show you. So when you right-click the variable, it will show as a normal readout, a large readout, which would be just the number by itself, or you could have it be a slider. And this way you can play with the gravity. very easily, and you can see what the effects of different kinds of gravity would be. Whoa, that was fast. And it never comes down because this gravity is so little. So like the gravity on the moon would be a lot less. If you're playing in space, there would be like almost no gravity, so it would keep on going forever, right? It would never probably come down. But if you're playing on Jupiter, there would be it would be very low gravity. So I don't know how low we can get this slider. Probably it would be 0.001, but basically no gravity. So it goes down right away almost. That's -2. Well, even zero gravity just goes straight, I guess. Instead of, can't get to negatives very easily. But you can play with that. Play with different kinds of gravity. You can also set it over here. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, try to, instead of controlling it with the arrow keys, try to, and this would be cool because actually this is more like most games are, you could try to control the launcher angle with your mouse. So changing those directions instead of these arrows, you can do something else, right? You should know how to do that. And you can experiment with any other things you want. You try, I thought it'd be challenging if you make the bananas bouncing, or you make them, maybe they pop after a certain amount of time on their own. Maybe that's the time limit. You can make enemies. Maybe something moves towards you. Right now, you'll notice I didn't fix it, but you could, right now the launch speed, change it to a better angle. The launch speed, you can actually hit increase while it's launching and speed it up. So even you don't, but it would be better if once you launched it, you couldn't change the speed probably. So you could play with that as well. But I'm sure you guys can think of some other ways to change it up. I can't wait to see your creations. And this will be a great opportunity for you to experiment with gravity, because I think gravity is going to be an important part of a lot of your games in the future. So good luck, and please let me know if you have any questions.